Good morning, everyone. First of all, we are going to explain the procedure to the patient. Followed by this, we are going to ensure that the patient has not taken any tea, coffee, or tobacco during the previous 30 minutes or has done any exercise during the previous 30 minutes. Ma'am, have you done any exercise during the previous 30 minutes?
No.
Any type of stair climbing or running, etc.?
No.
Have you taken any tea, coffee, or tobacco during the previous 30 minutes?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Next, we are going to ensure that the patient has emptied his or her bladder. Ma'am, are you having any pressure of passing urine right now?
No, I don't.
Okay. Followed by this, we'll ask the patient to relax for a period of 3 to 5 minutes in a sitting position in the chair. And after that, I'll check on the patient's position that I need to measure the BP while the patient is sitting instead of standing or lying down. That is the ideal position. Followed by this, I'll ensure that the patient does no talking during this relaxation period as well as during the BP measurement. So from now on, you won't speak anything now. Followed by this, I'll check the BP cuff for the correct size. Basically, the BP cuff has a part which is known as the bladder. The bladder is that part in which we fill the air. So basically, the bladder length should correspond to 75 to 100% of the patient's arm circumference, and the bladder width should correspond to 37 to 50% of the patient's arm circumference. So this is the ideal BP cuff for this particular patient. Followed by this, I'll check that there is no leakage in the tubing. I'll check the tubing is properly placed at this position as well as at this position. Followed by this, I'll ask the patient that the arm should be bare while I measure the BP or place the BP cuff on the patient's arm. And if the patient's arm can't be bare, then I can ask the patient to wear only a thin sheet of cloth on his or her arm. Followed by this, I'll ask the patient, I'll confirm beforehand only that the patient has not had any injury or any weakness in the particular arm in which I'm measuring the BP. Next, I'll ask the patient to take proper position and keep his or her hand supported. Ma'am, could you please keep your left arm on the table like this? Thank you. I'll ask the patient to relax the arm completely. There should be no fist formation of the arm, and the patient should keep his or her arm completely horizontal like that, and the palm should be open facing upwards. Followed by this, I'll place the BP cuff on the patient's arm, but before that, I must ensure that the BP cuff is properly deflated. For that, I need to just roll the BP cuff, and I need to ensure that it's properly deflated. Followed by that, I'll position the BP cuff on the patient's arm. Now I'll ensure that the BP cuff is properly secured 2 centimeters above the elbow, which is corresponding to the 2-finger breadth. I'll also check that the BP cuff is adequately tight, not too loose, by checking that a single finger passes below the BP cuff. And after that, I'll also check that the tubing is placed centrally at this mark. Also, followed by this, I'll check that the patient's legs and back are supported. Ma'am, please support your back in the chair, and also keep your feet flat on the ground, legs uncrossed, so that a proper BP measurement can be taken. Thank you. Followed by this, we'll check the BP. We'll start measuring the BP, and before that, we'll also ensure that there is no constricting wristwatch or wristband on the patient's hand, on the patient's arm. And kindly remove this. Thank you so much. And now we'll start measuring the BP. Okay, so as we have got the first reading, I'll note it down over here in the patient's file. The patient's file has the BP noted down as 102/63 as the first reading. Followed by this, I'll also check the same BP reading on the other arm as well. If the other arm is fine, no paralysis or no injury. Followed by this, I'll wait for a period of 1 minute at least, that is the resting period, and after that, I'll again measure the BP on the arm with a high reading. That is the second reading. For example, I got a high reading on the right arm. So I'll ask the patient to kindly keep her arm relaxed in the same position as told earlier, and we'll again measure the BP on the same arm. Now I'll note down the second BP reading, assuming that the right arm got the higher BP reading earlier. Next, I will remove the BP cuff. Ma'am, if you could please allow me. Thank you. Have you taken any BP medications recently?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll also pen it down and then I'll take an average of the two BP readings which I got on the right arm, and I'll then give the average BP reading to the patient. Ma'am, you have an average BP reading of today as 101/64 mm of Hg, and you can take this file to the doctor inside. Thank